Hello, dear folks. Welcome to the show. Jack Chow on the East West with G&E TV. Right now, as we speak, in Cleveland, Ohio, we have the GOP convention going on. As a matter of fact, the second day of the big convention. It's one of the biggest events of the nation, at least for this year, right? So there's lots of stories, lots of reports about the big convention, even day one. Now into day two of the big convention, we have my friend Ken Hemming, a wonderful writer, joining me. He's a philosopher, I believe, and plus he's a Republican. Are you registered or not registered?
Oh, I am registered,
You
yes.
are registered.
Right.
Okay, now rephrase it. Registered Republican to join me to share his knowledge about the convention so far.
Yes, sir.
Right, good. And of course, we the people at this end, we have our eyes peeled to see what's happening, what will happen, and what the United States gonna be. Where are we gonna go? Those are the concerns. Within a week, on the 25th, starting 25th to the 28th, the Democratic Party is going to have their convention in, I believe, in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
In the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Which is a traditional city.
Great city.
Great city. So, in other words, within 2 weeks, the next 2 weeks, we're going to hear the words from both parties. The strong, the official words, the definition kind of word of both parties, right? So now,
yes,
that could be another subject of another day.
Absolutely.
Now, today,
a good subject.
Let's talk about this GOP convention right now.
Sure.
Okay, now, my first question, my first response, as a natural response, that former President George W. Bush, Mitt Romney, would be there, but yet they're absent. So, you have any comment on that, please?
I very much do. For example, I supported Mitt Romney very nicely in the last election, and he really should have won. He failed to fight hard enough. He disappeared the last month before the election, and very disappointing. And then he came out with rhetoric against Mr. Trump that was heinous. And 1,000 times worse than he's ever said anything about Obama's first administration. So I find that for them not to show up for their party's national convention when one has been the president and the other tried to be, is pretty much an act of cowardice and disloyalty to the American people that actually supported both these guys, President Bush, who I definitely admire, and Romney, who I used to admire. I don't admire him after he, as a portrayed pure Mormon, could come up with such rhetoric of a nasty nature about Trump.
My question, as a matter of fact, is these two guys are the most influential of the party.
Right at the top.
All right, now with the GOP convention, is this the convention for the National Republican Party, or is it a convention of Donald Trump?
You know what?
If it is Donald Trump convention, they have 100 reasons to refuse to attend. If it is the GOP, the party convention, party national convention, I have questions about.
Okay, so, but I would disagree that there's 100 reasons not to attend if it's Donald Trump, but because I just totally disagree with that. But also, like, another person that should be there that's ridiculous he's not there is Governor Kasich. And then all of those guys, Jeb Bush, Kasich, all of them signed that document of loyalty and support for whoever the eventual nominee would be, and Trump signed it, and they've all chickened out from their, not all, but some have just, chickened out from honoring their commitment. And so Kasich, it's his state. It's a huge event in his state, and he doesn't come. But so what I'd say this is a convention, certainly of the Republican Party, but because Trump is attracting so many Democrats and independents, I think it's a convention for the people.
To
the
be
people
honest,
are taken back.
I take that as a statement. Of course, when I say that, I'm not saying it is a good thing or a bad thing for them not to attend. Right. I'm only saying as a party, and both of them, including Jeb Bush, or being the most influential inside the party, though.
Right.
All right. Now, when they do that, actions to kind of boycott it, I call it a boycott.
Yeah, they are.
Boycott it.
Right.
Does that indicate a unity of the party or split of the party? That is my question.
No, well, the to me, I've come up with another phrase. When they challenge Trump about, are you going to unify the party? My response would be, the people are the party and we are unified, because it goes way beyond the party.
That's philosophy. That's philosophy.
Well, I think
by
it's also
philosophy,
accurate.
what you say, you're right.
Yeah.
It's right. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is that their refusal, their boycott of the convention, does that indicate a unity or split?
Well, there's not a major split. There's not a major split. But these guys are acting like kindergarten people
it is
in
kind
a playpen.
of it is some kind of a split.
It's rude and it's disloyal.
You may call it rude or whatever. It is some kind, maybe rude, split or whatever. Yet by nature is a split.
Sure. Right.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, my next question, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Your comment on the floor fight surrounding the issue of the roll call, please.
Right. Well, I was watching.
That happened at day one, even before the starting. Okay.
Right.
Your comment, please?
Yeah, I watched every minute of it yesterday. I watch every minute of the rest of the week.
I believe you did. Yes.
Yeah, I did. And then, so when this, all of a sudden, in the background, you hear this noise, dumb Trump and stuff like that, kind of building up, and then so it gets a little bit goofy for a while with noise, and then because they want it
quite a while,
not 8 minutes. I mean, not a long time, but so then the media, which I find utterly untrue and despicable, they make this huge thing. Oh, there's a big fight in the convention floor. It was all over in 10 minutes, and everything moved on peaceably. So I think they make a big deal.
The news called it a floor fight.
It was a minor confrontation, a minor confrontation that was resolved in a very efficient manner,
by nature,
in a peaceful way.
By nature, what they do with the roll calling.
Oh, well,
what they want to do.
Yeah, well, they were hoping that they would get enough delegates where Trump wouldn't have his 1237 when they go today through the states, state by state. So they were just trying to be disruptive and also showing some, which I could understand, some disappointment and anger with the establishment. Because I'm not into that establishment either. I think they're more power hungry on a self-serving basis than remembering you serve the people. And one real big point, Jack, maybe make this, Congress serves with the consent of the people, and they're not really aware and humbled by the consent of the people. They're now taking power from the people, both the Democrats and Republicans, but that's a very serious issue. Consent's a very big word in our government, and it's not being honored properly.
Back to my question, you're saying that the disturbances in the very beginning, be it a floor fight, be it a disorder of some kind for a short moment, is not a big thing.
Not a big thing. Not a big thing to me. I don't think it's a big thing in the overall.
Of course. I myself happen to be manager of huge event sometimes.
Yes, sir.
To the tens of thousands attendances, right? In a community, that is considered, that they are considered big events, and I happen to be managers of those. Right now, when something of that nature happens in my events like that, well, given the fact it's 10 times smaller than this, I will be totally alert. Right. Because it's not healthy. Not a healthy symptom. I would have to have it under control within as little time as I could.
Right. I think we're that kind, right?
Now you're talking about the same party member, the same delegates coming together for their national convention.
Correct.
Which is almost a big celebration.
Oh, it is.
If that happens, does that
give
a little
but it's a tiny taint. It's a tiny taint, and it will be forgotten except by the
At
media.
least an eyesore. Do you believe that?
It's an eyesore. Yeah.
It is.
It shouldn't have happened, and it's you know, it's not.
In other words,
There was no chance of success. There was no chance of success.
I'm not challenging you.
They just wanted their 15 minutes of fame.
I'm not challenging you. I
Sure,
just
sure.
want to make sure that you and I both
Yeah.
get out of where we belong.
Right. It would have
To
been.
think, to look at this incident in a very kind of neutral way.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So by that, I mean, if you say something happens at my event of that nature,
Yeah.
I believe the public will say okay, because they do not agree with you, right? Okay. Now, when that thing happens at the party convention, because everybody, I believe, was selected. Everybody has going through a qualification process.
Sure.
And to the most extent. And then you see that. When you see that, do you see the disorder? Now, in the very beginning, we see the boycott from the big shots, right?
Right.
And then we see
right.
the floor fight.
Right.
Okay. Disturbance.
It wasn't a good fight.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The disturbances.
Disturbance.
Disorder. Disturbances like that.
Right.
Do you think things are still as pure as we think of?
I think the week will turn out very wonderfully,
It will.
and I think the country's coalescing around
I
him
see.
because what's the alternative? The alternative is Hillary, and we'll talk about that some other time. But it's a very serious. This is the most, in my opinion, the most important election since 1776.
What we have now, as we the people, is that we want somebody from some party to lead America onto a healthy way, right? We hate anything to happen within one party that shows the inconsistency or separation of the ideologies.
But also, it's
That
healthy.
is a problem.
But within the party, this
If
is
the
a
same
very,
thing happens, by the way,
Yeah.
let me finish. If the same thing happens with the Democratic convention, I would have the same worry.
But see, the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is more coalesced around progressive socialism, which is, never have the two parties been so far apart. The Republican Party, I'm a constitutional guy, okay? If the Democratic Party lived for our Constitution more than the Republican Party, I'm a Democrat. I only live for the Constitution
You're right.
in the
People do
concept.
jump overboard all
Yeah.
the time. For example, Ronald Reagan, right?
Sure.
So, for example, Donald Trump, right? Okay, the people.
Right.
For example, me, myself, right? So
Right.
we shift our political opinions from
Based
now,
on-
every now and then. That is normal. But the thing is that my only concern, my only question is that if during the Democratic Party convention, nothing of that nature happens,
We'll
right?
see what Bernie supporters
And then at the GOP convention, this happens. Do we, the people, our judgment, okay, all right, be it right or wrong, that is a more consolidated party, that is somehow some little split party.
See, I think this is transformational for the Republican Party to get back to a
You know my philosophy, right?
Right, to get back to a stronger defense of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And we'll see what happens, because Bernie's got supporters there. They're going to make noise at the Democratic convention. I mean, look what they did. They had violent demonstrations. They're socialists.
Oh, there are a lot. There are a lot.
And they don't respect.
Oh, yeah, let's take a short
the
moment.
Constitution.
Yeah, let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue talking about those here and there problems.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about the constitutional government. That issue is a big issue. Joining me today, my good friend Ken Hemming, a wonderful philosopher and a good writer. His favorite book, Life is Simple, 100 Words to Live By. As a matter of fact, he's not only a writer of it, he leads his own life within the guidance
I
of
do.
it, right? So
Everyone.
for that, I give you 2 thumbs up.
Thank you.
And we argue all the time, but we are friends. We're friends. If we're given 1 week of not seeing each other, we say, hey, it's been 100 years already. Like
I'm
that
lonely.
kind of, right? Okay, we'll get along. So we'll be right back, please. Hello, dear folks, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear fellow Americans who care about America, our country, our home, our land of freedom. I would say there's no exaggeration of how much you love this country, or you should love this country. Go ahead, feel free, do it.
Please.
Now this country is at a decisive moment on where to go, right? So this is, by the way, the beauty of democracy. You have always a check and balance. Nobody can go forever on its own, and there is always a point to say, hey, stop. Okay, so far so good, and now let me try it, or something like that.
Right.
Okay, it is let me try it moment. Well, so should we see where we're heading as a nation, United States, the strongest nation of the world? I do have the feeling that during the past years, we kind of like fading away
from our foundation,
at least in the attention of the world high. All right.
Yes, sir.
Put it that. Okay. Well, that will be another subject when we come back. Now we go back to the convention, the Republican convention, the GOP convention, starting the 18th, which was yesterday, today, and tomorrow, for 3 days in a row. Whereas the Democrats preparing theirs on the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 8th for 4 days in Philadelphia of Pennsylvania, the Penn State. Now, at the convention, even starting the first day, we started to notice something abnormal that popped up. We discussed already, such as there are boycotts of some of the big shots representing the establishment.
Right.
And there are some indications about the floor piece, they call floor fight, and later we found out, according to my friend, the disturbances, which is okay, right? Thirdly, we noticed one thing, that we know Ohio is a state that allows to carry concealed weapons.
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Which I support.
All right, which you support. Now at the convention, the party has made a request to the city of Cleveland,
right,
to put gun control, to ban, to forbid gun carrying, concealed weapon carrying for 3 days.
Okay.
So I want your explanation. How do you balance your own self of your constant support of gun right? As many times, 100 times already, you and I were talking about gun control.
It's our Second
and
Amendment.
You totally refuse to do that in protection, in defense of
our Second Amendment.
Right. All right. Now we're talking about the 3 days of banning.
Right.
So how do you balance yourself, please?
Okay. Well, number one, I'm glad that request was denied, because what happens when you have they're trying to make it a gun-free zone. So when you have a gun-free zone, that's a killing field for those bad people that have guns that can shoot you when you don't even have the ability to protect yourself. Just like in Paris, okay, nobody had a gun, 131 people just killed and another 80 wounded. But as soon as you shoot back at a bad person, they're cowards and they'll run away or blow themselves up or whatever. So, like Texas, it's really got a very low crime rate because there's a lot of guns. And so, and there's restaurants there that is encouraged to bring a gun. And they've never been held up.
So you're saying on the floor.
It endangers the people.
Yeah.
It endangers.
You're saying at this moment on the floor in the arena, everybody had a gun.
No, of course not. Not everybody did. I don't know if anybody did. I never saw one, so they didn't talk about it. It's for the zone around there. But no, I have no idea.
By determination, by determining the fact, or determined by the fact that the request was denied,
right.
That means that they had the right.
They had the right
to go in
that state
arena,
right,
or on the stage with a gun concealed. Am I right?
Open carry is unconcealed, so you could just have it on a holster.
Well, you don't even have to conceal it.
No,
you can open carry.
Right.
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 So that means that right now on the floor there are guns.
I'm sure there are some. Yeah, not everybody's got a gun, of course not. But the thing is, when you know other people have got a gun, you're going to behave better than if you're the only one with a gun and you happen to be a bad person. Because you get one bullet off and you're dead. You know, so it's guns protect. And then see the interesting thing, Jack, the tragedy we just had of a truck killing 84 people,
84 people
and injuring 200. I've written some stuff about, well, maybe now the Obama administration will want to repossess all trucks in America because it's also a weapon. Because so they, you know, guns don't kill, trucks don't kill, people kill. And that was a tragedy over there. Are you kidding me? 84 people dead with a huge truck going
And by
right
the
down.
way, I would like to mention that
Terrible.
I had a little change of my opinions towards that.
Yes, sir.
I was thinking about at that very night when the truck was running people over, simply running people over.
Right.
And the dash with a speed of 50 to 60 kilometers per.
Pretty fast.
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
If anybody have gun, they can just
Absolutely. Start
just start shooting
and at least shoot the
halfway.
tires out.
At least shoot tire.
Right. And see, also they didn't have
or people in the
barricades.
front, when they hear the gun,
Right.
they can shoot back to stop the driver.
Absolutely.
Right.
Anyway, that was a huge tragedy on planet Earth. Just in a lot of kids just run over.
Okay, very good.
It's
So
heinous.
you were saying that the fact that the request of 3 days gun-free,
Yeah.
what's the nine?
Yes.
Indicates a stronger protection of the Second Amendment
Of the
right.
attendees, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That I take as a very strong take.
Thank you, sir.
And now we see the crowd outside the arena
Right.
in protest in a much more abnormal way. In other words, not only by numbers of attendances of protesters, and also by scales, by the heat. How do you see that? Interpret that, please.
Well, you know, last night was peaceful outside of the arena, to my knowledge. Okay, I could be wrong in a little way, but it's kind of primarily two groups.
I read the news this morning.
Yeah.
It is strong. It is still going now.
Strong, but not violent yet. It will be.
Not violent. Yeah.
But it's primarily the new Black Panthers and the Black Lives Matter people. And the Black Lives Matter group is a racist, a violent terrorist group that Obama invites to the White House, which makes me very sad. And if it was white guys that were doing that sub or Chinese guys, would feel the same. It has nothing to do with skin. It has to do with intent of violence and disruption. And so anyway, I hope that, I guarantee they have at least a very serious police protection and coverage there.
Yes.
And there's police in there from a lot of states that have come in to, you know, provide the security. It'll be the same in Philadelphia. And there was very little coverage outside showing cameras and they're making whatever noises they're making. Okay.
All right. Okay.
I watch a station, by the way, Jack, that does nothing but the convention. I don't watch the other ones where they have people talking over what's going on at the convention. I want the raw material of what's happening at the Republican and Democratic convention. So I recommend people look at that one. Because, for example, in NBC, when Rudy Giuliani made a spectacular speech last night, and when it was getting very vibrant, they just cut it off and then went back and started talking about other things. It was very complete immorality to cut that off.
Okay. All right. That's a very strong comment about the GOP convention. And
It's censorship.
Of course, I would like to find out more, because I just hold on to my decision or judgment. I would say that seeing is believing. Let's see what happens, right?
Yes, sir.
So with me today is my good friend, Ken Hamming, a philosopher, a good friend, a very trustworthy friend, wonderful writer, and to share his beautiful minds with us.
Thank you.
And of course, you know that without saying he's a registered Republican. Me, I'm in the middle. I'm a show host. I have no political stand myself. Okay, we'll take a very short moment now. When we come back, we'll continue finding in the speeches, please. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're now talking about the GOP convention. Right now it's happening, and this is the only second day of it. Only 3 days altogether. This is in the middle of it. As we speak, Cleveland, Ohio is having this pleasure of doing such.
Yes.
Right now.
Great for
We're
the
talking
city.
about, thank you. We're talking about the convention, and with my friend Ken Hamming, a philosopher, trying to share views, his beautiful minds, and also trying to take a little peek into the convention, see where they are, as Republicans, supposed to lead us, United States.
Right.
Two speeches, some of the speeches. One of the very famous one was Mrs. Trump, Melania.
Right.
All right. So, and lots of people, lots of comments say that she kind of copied from Michelle Obama, her speech in 2008. So you heard any comment about that?
Oh yeah, and I've heard there's similar words that were used in certain parts of the speech, but I can't tell you this, Mr. Trump or Mrs. Trump, the last thing they want to do is copy Obama. Either Barack or Michelle. No one wants to do that. And so, I think it's a woman, but it's a woman that's saying from her heart about her husband. So women, and I love women, obviously, okay?
Oh yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Have the same sort of rhythm of expression for admiration and love and that for their husband and respect. And so the same words apply equally to each of those circumstances. And a lot of it, I think a lot of the to-do they're making over this, because what they're trying to do is take attention away from Sheriff Clark's speech, Rudy Giuliani's speech, and Pat Smith's speech, who directly blamed Hillary for the death of her son in Benghazi. Okay. And it was very emotional, not a dry eye around, very emotional. So, and also, everybody, you're either jealous of Melania for her outrageous beauty, but she demonstrated great articulation and class and dignity, okay, which I like. I like class and dignity. I try to have some when I can, sometimes I fail.
All right.
But, and so they, this whole thing on the radical left is just from back to Saul Alinsky's rules for radical, demean and destroy. That's their
I heard
tactic.
you strongly recommend the speech made by Rudy Giuliani,
Unbelievable.
the former mayor of New York.
Yeah.
So what's your take on his speech, please?
Oh, I almost fell off my couch because it was so
did ya?
powerful. He was so vibrant, and it was so strong against the I guess we'll just say the platform and agenda of Obama and Hillary.
I missed that part. Give some details about what he said, please.
Well, he was the mayor at 9/11, and he really converted New York also into one of the safest cities in the world, and in America. And then now it's a lot of shootings again with Mayor de Blasio. But so Rudy's very passionate about the danger that he believes, that's all I'll say, he believes, is put upon America with an agenda of Obama or of Hillary, where you're going to radical socialism. You don't have to earn your success. The government's going to provide your success by taking it from other people. Mostly they're after old successful white males. Take your stuff away, okay? So it was so passionate, and like I said, one of the major networks then just cut it off because he was making points that resonate with listeners.
Being passionate is one thing. Being reasonable is the other.
He was accurate in his
I want
assessment.
you to give me examples how reasonable he was.
Well, one of the examples is, would you trust your son or daughter in the military with Hillary as commander-in-chief when she was instrumental in lying to the parents? She lied directly to the parents of the 4 people that died. Well, she did. It said it blamed it on the video.
This is exactly our problem. When asked about where are you going to lead America,
right,
you pinpointing your fingers at Hillary Clinton for her mistake, for her crime, whatever, so you may call it.
Well,
okay, that's not the answer to the question. The answer to the question is that what do you want to say, how you want to lead America? So what did Mayor Giuliani say about in his speech about how the Republicans is going to lead America, not by denouncing Hillary Clinton.
No, yeah.
That's a different story.
Well, that's fine, but he was in his rhythm of speech at that, it was primarily about Hillary. Donald Trump, we need a wall. I'm for a wall. If you don't have secure borders, you don't have a secure country. That's a simple statement. We need a stronger military. If we don't have a strong military, we're weaker and we have less respect. Countries don't respect us. Our enemies, our prior enemies are now our allies, and our prior allies like Israel and that are now our enemies. So it's all backwards, because that's how the agenda for Barack Obama has sculpted the world, because he has when you give $150 billion in a direct road to nuclear bombs to Iran, that's the number one. Now we're the number one sponsor of terror on the world, because that money gets recycled to terrorists and comes back and kills my daughter. And we can't let that happen.
Again, you're going back to pointing fingers to Obama administration. I'm talking about how you want to strengthen our national defense,
Jobs.
which I agree.
Jobs.
Okay,
Jobs.
how? How?
Donald Trump will create jobs.
How will he?
Well, look what he's done with his own empire of jobs. He has thousands of employees. He understands the economy. You need jobs.
No.
Well, wait. So you need border security. You need a strong military. You need to honor veterans. You need to create an economy. This economy is
for
stagnant.
a stronger national defense, which I agree. I totally agree.
Okay.
And my question is that even for a wall,
Yeah.
where do we get the money?
It's a very
immaterial
amount of money.
In order to get the money, there are only two ways, right? You want to create a job, what you say, right? And then you want to increase tax.
You don't have to increase that. No, if you have more jobs, you don't increase tax.
When you don't increase tax, and then you want to create jobs, and then we the people will ask Donald Trump or whoever represents Donald Trump, how are you going to create jobs? Not by laying the Donald empire here's the example.
Jack, obviously.
Right? Not by doing that.
Number one,
we want to listen to your policies.
You repatriate the $1.9 trillion that's overseas that can come back without a major tax burden. You get it back to America so the corporations can invest it in expanding of their operations and create jobs. You try to have less jobs go to the Philippines and China and Japan and whatever, and maybe even whether we pay a little more or less, we could, I think, do things more efficiently than these other places. They just have cheap labor. We don't want cheap, abusive labor, okay? So you repatriate the 1.9 trillion, and then you lower taxes for small business. Small business is the heart of our economy. Small business people, and they're my heroes. I love them, and where they get to keep more into their business and invest it into expansion. That's exactly what creates jobs.
Those are the policies that I would like to hear.
Right.
And those are the answers to my question.
Yeah.
Not by pointing fingers, but denouncing Obama administration. That's history already.
Well, okay, and then the one more thing that's I think very important. Okay?
Go ahead, if there is any more.
Okay,
please.
there is. I believe Trump will want a smaller government, and the inefficiency in our government is outrageous. There's no to be efficient and focused in doing your job, there's no benefit to it, because you can't hardly fire a government employee. So, and then states, I'm for states' rights, okay? The Constitution, the Congress is really disallowed from creating any law or regulation that is not directly linked to the Constitution, because all government function comes from the Constitution, and all the other rights go to states' rights.
Sure. That's
another
huge segment. That's another segment. In our preparation, we also get some homework done on the constitutional government. That's the term.
Yeah, federalism and that.
Federalism like that.
You're right.
And let's take a very short moment. And thank you for mentioning that. When we come back, we'll continue from the Trumpism, the Donald Trumpism towards the issue of our government versus Constitution. So let's do that. We'll be right back. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West with G&E TV. With me today, my good friend Ken Hamming, a philosopher, a strong supporter of the community. By the way,
Yes.
His book is beautiful. His mind is beautiful. Except that he and I, we argue all the time. But at the end of the day, we sit there with a beer in hand. We
Exactly.
celebrate, we hug, and we kind of call each other. So
Yeah.
we're friends. Okay, now. To argue with some points, not exactly, argue is not a word, to check with the points with the GOP convention as the lead, right? So we're talking about a big subject at the GOP first day, GOP convention first day, of the government amendment to our Constitution. List of amendment to the United States Constitution, also the constitutional government. Those are the issues, right? That they would impose once in power, once take office, once Donald Trump would take office. In other words, the Republican would lead America in a way that they will stick to constitutional government, rather than any other government, right? Well, I would like to hear some explanation, please.
Well, federalism is basically, the founding fathers that wrote the Constitution believe in state rights, because there was 13 colonies and whatever, and you couldn't get them all to hug each other at that time. So they would go along with forming our government and forming our country if they were able to retain most of their rights. And so there's the direction, the Constitution allows a government to exist and Congress to do certain functions that are directly linked to the Constitution. And in fact, they want an amendment where you have to have a law in Congress that you have to cite exactly where in the Constitution this is allowed to happen, okay? And see, states' rights will do things, or states' performances will do things much more efficiently because it's a smaller area, more efficiently than the government. I just say this government just
when you put up to a level of revise or amendment of our Constitution. Well, that's something that we the people are not ready for.
But every amendment, there's 27 of them to our Constitution, is based on strengthening the Constitution, not weakening it.
All right.
It does not, none of them divert away from the heart and soul of the words in our Constitution.
So,
none of them.
Now, just give me one example in which area the Republicans want to revise the Constitution.
Well, okay, one very big, none. To amend maybe, not revise.
Okay, to amend.
To amend, to strengthen it,
To amend. So in which of the area do or does the party want to amend the Constitution, please?
A balanced budget amendment. Right now we've got 19 trillion going on 20 trillion in debt. You and I, we manage our own lives, Jack, and if I spend more than I make on a continual basis, I'm in deep trouble, okay? Our country is getting in financial deep trouble by this wanton, reckless expansion of government and then distribution of the funds from taxpayers in inefficient ways. And so they want zero-based budgeting. I'm a CPA. I know exactly what it is. You start, do we need to spend this? Do we not need to spend this? Do we need this government department or do we not? And it's the amount of regulations that's been put upon small businesses. So they want to we've got to get back to where we balance our budget and start reducing.
In other words, the amendment would be put a ceiling
of the
spending ceiling.
Yes, sir.
Of the budget expenditures.
Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah. To a certain level, you have nowhere to go. You must go down.
Right.
See. All right.
But see, you get stretched out, and then what the government does when we had this printing of money to try
to. What else do the Republicans call for?
Okay, one very strong thing is a marriage. That we believe, I believe anyway, in that legal marriage should be between a man and a woman, and then another big point in here.
Stay on this one a little longer. Okay. I'd like to hear more, please.
Okay. Well, I don't
because I want to protect my marriage. Right. I believe there is content of gold there.
Right.
So I don't want to be shared with any who doesn't hold on.
Yeah. It does.
Anyway, whatever I say represents my personal opinion.
Me too. Yeah.
So it doesn't represent this show. Neither does it an organization or the flagship as G&E and EDI. None.
Right.
My personal Jack Chow point of view.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So in the marriage, like you and I have agreed before, we don't care who hugs who. You know, that doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Yeah. I just think marriage is thousands of years tradition of the normal relationship for the core of a family. And then the other big thing is pro-life or pro-abortion. Okay. And so they're very strong. You know, they're kind of going back to the 10th, the 9th, and 5th Amendment. Which is strengthening or see, because what's happened, executive orders by Obama or something, he's had dictates, government dictates that ignore the legal process that the Constitution provides to have new laws and regulations. Just dictation. It's dictation, not.
I'm not done with the marriage part. Okay. Now, does that mean once the Republican Donald Trump goes to the Oval Office, there's going to be a call to go to the Supreme Court of the United States again to have this judgment revised or
amended
or remade or amended.
You know, a lot of times people, both the Democrats and Republicans, have an intent to do something and then they don't get it done. So I can't say that they'll succeed in doing that. I think there's just too much water over the bridge to succeed. But also, like, Christianity is under unbelievable attack, you know, in America, and to reestablish a foundation.
Here's a logic. When Supreme Court of the United States make a decision, it is final.
Until the next decision, maybe.
Yeah, until the next decision.
Right, but they're not. But the Supreme Court's job is to interpret and enforce the Constitution, not to be judicially active.
No, the issue is adjourned. There is no longer an issue now, unless you bring another brand new issue. That's a different thing.
Sure.
But that very issue, this very case, the marriage, the legalization of the same-sex marriage, that is adjourned already.
Well, same with Obamacare. The whole Constitution did not allow Obamacare.
You cannot overturn it. Are you saying that in the Constitution, in the amendment, list of amendments you're talking about, to add something to allow that to happen, if that is not something they want to do, what my take is that they are just trying to make some points. That's it. Because practically nothing can be done.
Well,
you see my
practically
point?
Obamacare should not have been. It was
Stay to my question, please. I'm talking about the logic of the government, Constitution, and the Supreme Court.
And your logic works if every one of the governmental checks and balances is allowed to function as it was intended. And it's not functioning now as it was intended, because it's being diverted and ignored. And
I'm not defending anything.
No,
I'm not defending it. Yeah. I'm just trying to find the mind of people, of the creator of the amendments, right?
Right.
So are they really believing, or do they really believe practically these can be done? Or at the bottom of their mind, they do know that it can be done. What they want to do, what they are doing, is just trying to make some noises.
Well,
to make some opposite noises so that to make a point. So that is something I hate.
Well, okay, I'm not going to go along with that, because I don't think they're just trying to make a point. I believe in the Republican platform for 2016 primarily relates bringing us back to the Constitution and the amendments, to follow them in a pure way. They've been abrogated by the agenda of the radical left Democratic Party. And so I don't believe one word in their platform is intended to just make noise. I believe it's intended from their heart. To do their best.
To do their best.
But you'll fail very often.
For the country.
Right.
Of course they can fail.
Because see, a lot of people say, and I've had people that are pretty smart say, well, the Constitution's 240 years old, so shouldn't it change? If it changes, then it's not America anymore. America is so unique.
Constitution to me is a guideline that stays forever, right?
Yes.
That stays forever.
It's a Bible.
You can add on, you can keep adding on to it.
Right. as long as it's directly
time
linked to
goes,
the,
right?
as
You're
long
not
as-
overturning it.
Right,
It
correct.
cannot
Right.
be overturned. All
That's right.
Good. So, my dear audience, I say, long live the Constitution, long live the United States.
Yes, sir.
And we really hope that the beauty of a democracy would function sometime when necessary.
Yeah.
And
We'd like
right
that.
now is the time, I don't know. It is time right now? I don't know. I'm not sure. But we have the beauty of the democracy is that we have other parties who are preparing themselves too. So
Yes,
let's
sir.
hear from them, right? So with my
you,
good
Jack.
friend Ken Hemming, I had some wonderful time. Even though I went over, I still feel that we were worth it. Just
Was.
I will ask my editor to cut myself off a little bit to balance with him. All right. So my dear audience, thank you for watching, and to Cam, thank you very much for sharing.
And I love your viewers, just like my family.
All right, good. Thank you.
You.